Doing about 100 downloads a day.
That's amazing. That's really amazing.
It's really amazing.
That's so consistent.
That's like 100 downloads.
Oh, no.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
What happened?
My light just fell over.
Rob, please include this in the episode.
Guys, welcome back to Still Single. I'm your host, joined by Alex Weber and Jordan Kahana.
Give a play-by-play, yeah.
I need this episode so bad today. Like, I drove home from Venice, and I am just a sleepy bear.
Wait, what happened in Venice?
I had a date, and it went well, and but September 1st, guys, it's September 1 right now, so I'm going 30 days, no dates. I'm just doing it.
Because the rules felt very fluid. Can we just unpack these rules again for what
the rules are not fluid. They're precisely what I said. I'm not going to date anyone for 30 days. I need to take a cleanse.
So not even if you've gone on a date before with them.
I deleted the dating apps. Not if I've gone on a date with them before. I need to just focus on Bobby this month.
Okay, man, that's great. There's 30 days.
There's 30 a lot days. Happening with your movie too, so that's good stuff. And last time you did that cleanse,
yeah. Last time I did the cleanse, I launched the TikTok. I kind of found a way to deal with the lonely feelings without having to press,
that's good.
Gas pedal on all the dating apps. So I feel like it's good. I feel like it's a good idea. What do you guys think about this?
I think it's a really, listen, you putting that time and energy into exactly what you just said. Mm-hmm. I'm laughing for about, I'm about to ask you, but in terms of just responding to that's a beautiful thing, man. You being okay with loneliness, you being upset if you're upset, happy, finding time with Leia, productive things. It's awesome. Now we're 7 days in. Hold on. And you go, hold on. Okay, I have a hypothetical for you.
Yeah. Okay.
You have a premiere of your movie, right?
Yeah.
Written, starring Rob Moore.
Yeah.
And someone comes up to you after you, and it's a beautiful woman. And she says, Rob, that was amazing. And I would love to get a cup of coffee with you and learn more about you. Do you say, that sounds great, and I will see you in 24 days?
Honestly, I think I would. I would take her number. I would just say, look, we can get a coffee in October. I need to focus on my work for September, and I want you guys to hold me to this. Like I'm serious. Like 30 days, it's a cleanse. It's good. Yeah. I know it's good.
You know what would be a pretty solid power move is if you literally became pen pals with someone. Like
literally writing letters, like physical letters.
Like the Notebook?
Like the Notebook. Yes.
What's our time frame in this? 3 minutes in.
Oh my God, we're 3 minutes in and we've already talked about the Notebook. I guess the real reason behind it is I noticed that with the dating apps, I was swiping kind of addictively, and I was just like, okay, I'm just doing this because I feel lonely. And I noticed I was swiping while I'm driving, and it's just not not serving me.
Yeah.
So
good.
Yeah, that Bumble driving while swiping because you're changing neighborhoods and just navigating through LA, and you're like,
I wonder who's in Silver Lake.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, I'm in Marina Del Rey for the day. Let's see some West Side action. It's disgusting relaying it that way, but I guess in general, I'm, as I said, I'm meeting amazing women, and the dates are really solid. I think I'm just not in the place to be open enough to commit right now. I'm just not in a place, and I so badly want to be there. And I'm sure some audience members can relate to that, where they're like, I just want the thing. I want the companionship. I want somebody to have me, like we said in the last episode. But it's you can't, I don't know, you can't force it. And then I fight with well, it's just fun and it's that, but it's feelings develop quickly. like things happen fast, and I just don't want to. I don't want to hurt anybody, and I don't want to hurt myself, and I don't know. So that's just kind of where I'm at.
Such a good
Snaps to
guy.
you on that. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
If you're listening, just shoot single girl dad a message whenever you think of it and just say, no dates, no date Bobby. Just remind him, keep him accountable.
Yeah. If it's
or just like message me and be like, hey, how are you doing? Are you doing well? Because there's
Yeah, that's
nothing
good.
wrong with a little like message. I have been getting some messages, and I see all of them, and I appreciate them. So, I mean, you guys have dealt with this. You've been like internet people, influencers for a while, and like Jordan,
let's not use that word.
Okay, content creator.
It's better.
Okay, like how many DMs like have women slid into your DMs, Jordan?
Yes.
And how does that make you feel?
Sometimes good. Sometimes it's not like of interest, but like I respect the approach. I mean, I said it in the last episode of like the season of life that I'm in is just like, shoot your shot, like go and send that message, or go say hi to someone at the bar or the coffee shop. Like go, you never know, and it's much better to throw it out there versus the regret of just like, man, I didn't have the courage to just like say what's up, at the minimum, just to say what's up, and then there can be wherever the vibes take you from there. But yeah, I mean, especially because like the virality of my videos with like the dogs, a lot of my DMs were people in other countries, or just like people in general who are like, I've rescued 7 dogs myself, and we're here, and I have like 4 chickens and a horse, and I'm like, it's awesome, you're really great, but like I love animals too, but like, you live in Argentina, like in a like, I don't know what you want me to do with that, like, or
that's the dream.
A farm in Argentina. That it is true. That would be really nice. I'll find that DM real quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's it's exciting when it's someone that like sparks your interest, and then other times like it's a little bit of an ego boost. It's nice, but I don't know.
I think going with that ego boost, it's like that. I do feel like that's what the apps kind of are. It's like you get that little dopamine hit when you match with a pretty girl, and you're just like, oh, okay, I guess I'm cool, I'm hot, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. How often, so Alex and I have talked about this in the past, like how often are you seeing a person, the reaction and the joke that we say is that we'll shut it down for this person, we'll delete the apps immediately, we'll block social media. We'll
I hear that from you like once a week, Jordan.
I fall in love 3 times a day. Like I want the relationship so bad, and I still have so much self-work to do. At the same time, like the people out here are just stupid beautiful, and I'm
well, your work is more on social media than I think. I have 1 foot in it and 1 foot off. Mm-hmm. And I wrestle with that. I'm still wrestling with that. But you're so in social media. No. So like that's good and bad. It's good, but also one of the tough parts is that you're exposed to so much more, just more stimulus, more people in different places. And so, yeah, more opportunities to fall in love and yeah.
What does love feel like?
Oh, you've been in it.
I wish I could sing better. This is where they do skyrockets.
Yeah.
Skyrockets in flight.
I had something that I was going to bring up too, along these lines of, this is just a very real thing. If you get to a point with someone, wherever that is in the journey, and you like someone, right? You like someone. Okay, cool. We're off to speed. But then there's another degree, at least with me, there's another degree where you're like, okay, now I really like this person. So the period is amazing. You like them, they're cool. You want to go on dates, you want to get to know them, amazing. But then maybe something happens, you see more of them and you're like, wow, this person's great. Or they show up for you in a certain way. And you're like, okay, now we're entering into like really like period. And beneath really like period is like love. And it's an interesting thing because I guess what I'm circling here is there's a bit of bravery or vulnerability to going into that deep like and then love, because you're basically stepping into, okay, like this might be wonderful. And also I might get crushed.
100%. I mean, it's, first of all, I've always identified it as like, it's just going to happen. And it's just a feeling you like transform from like to deep like into deep love. And then when I recall back to how I felt for Noelle, it was just like, oh my, like, it was just like an, oh my fucking God. And in my adulthood, I'm 11 years older than I was when I met her. It's like, it feels a little bit more like it has to be a little bit more conscious. Like it's almost a choice. And then when I find myself making the choice of moving from like to deep like to love, I'm like, what is this?
Can there be more of the spectrum? Like, I think because like is very casual, not many people talk about deep like, and then like the difference between like and love just in society is very heavy.
Yeah.
And maybe deep like is, when you're in middle school and it's like, but do you like me? Like more than a friend? And can there be more of a buildup? But at the same time, can we also, I've been trying to get more comfortable around telling people I love them, the people that I do truly love. And every day in my journal, I end with love you. It's just like a, positive self-talk and all that kind of stuff. But just being more and more comfortable around that, especially like I was thinking about it earlier this week about how early on with dating with girlfriends, introducing my parents, I was like, this is such a big deal. This person's meeting them as my girlfriend. And I would say I've had like 6 actual girlfriends in my past who have met my parents, and then other just like girls who are friends who met my parents. Like, just once you get more comfortable with something, it doesn't seem as intense. Does that make sense? I don't want to disregard the feeling of love towards someone, because that is deep and intense. And that actually is a big thing that it was a big note that I took when reading The Game, as he talks about love. And so I'll let you go, and then I'm going to find this note and circle back. Actually, I just found it.
We have this idea that love is supposed to last forever.
Keep going.
I feel like the three of us, if we could just do a quick check-in for the Still Single team. It is a Thursday morning. It is September 1st. We're all in different stages of life, for sure. We have exciting things going on. We have, we're a little sleepy, but we're all like, we're just like, we're lovers. Like, the three of us are lovers searching for love. And if you can resonate with that, like,
wow.
We're glad you're here. That's all I want to say. We're glad you're here. Thank you for sharing your hearts with us and your earballs.
I want to give a little color commentary of, so Jordan pitched The Game last week for us all to read.
By Neil Strauss, The Game.
Yes.
New York Times bestselling book. It's a great book.
I probably provided a little resistance at the time, but I wanted to go with it. That resistance has, Jordan's checked in on how my progress has been with the book every day, and it hasn't been great.
No, I was very conscious to not check in every day.
Okay,
I was just very aware that you guys weren't, because no one was messaging about it, and you guys weren't like, oh, I really like, I just wasn't going to bring it up of being like, I'm not your school teacher, but we're committed to this, and we have a podcast to record on Thursday. So on like Tuesday, I was like, okay, realistically, where are we for me to prep for this?
Yeah.
To talk about.
Alex and I, by the way, texted offline the chat of just like, hey man, where are you with this? Like, Weber's like, I've 0.0. I haven't read any. And I'm like, I'm a hot 0 right now.
I feel like the student, this is just owning it. I have crammed. And so like, it's going to be high risk, high reward, because there's some answers here I'm going to knock out of the park, and then you're going to catch me on some.
Yeah, for sure. And at the same time too, like in the back of my head, I was definitely a little frustrated about it because I like asked you guys along the way, like, we don't have to. This is just an idea. And if you don't want to, I'm not mad.
And
I did
Alex and I, the people pleaser in us, we're just like, yeah.
Let's go.
We're gonna
We love
do it.
this
We
book.
got this.
and also at the same time, me realizing that not once in high school and or college did I ever read a book and just did Spark Notes. So I'm just like, and I got away, like, and so it was a little bit of this balance, but I'm trying to push us to be more connected, and there was great value out of reading the book, and we'll
I
see
agree.
if we can get to the truth next week, but let's just worry about the game right now and how this goes.
So
Yeah.
for our audience, let's set up the game and let's set up. So in our last episode, Jordan challenged us to He just said, "Can you guys please read
Like,
a book?"
hey, what do we think about this idea of this very polarizing book around like the game, which is guys picking up girls? It's literally a book about what they called each other pickup artists.
Right.
And so, I'm about a quarter of the way in. And I've been able to connect with the author Neil Strauss and like what he's going through. And just to set up Neil Strauss a little bit, like he's like this 5'6", 5'7" bald guy who, slept with maybe a handful of women into his late 20s or early 20s. And he, just fell into this club of pickup artists, and these guys were closing numbers of like just like the hottest girls imaginable. And he self-identifies as like this nerd, and he's like not a hot guy by any means, but the book challenges this concept that you can like build these set of tools and pickup lines to like get any woman, and it works, and it's kind of impressive. So and also kind of cringe. I mean, there's definitely like a lot of cringe moments. But,
yeah, the book came out in 2005, so probably most of it happened in like 2000, 2001-ish, maybe a little bit later into, like, it takes a little bit for a book to get published like that. But at the same time, yeah, there's a lot of cringe to it. There's a lot of like Me Too stuff where you're just like, that's not
it's
cool.
dated.
Yeah, it's a little bit, but there is interesting elements.
So Jordan, why don't you kick us off with like a prompt or one of your takeaways?
Kick us off with a quick book summary.
Well, that was it. We just did.
I just summarized it.
No.
Are you kidding,
Yeah.
Derek? We just talked about this.
Page 1.
So I like going off of the talking about love and how that all is. And here's a note that comes with it is love is free flowing. It comes and goes when it pleases, minutes, days, years, however long it is. And so don't fear love when it comes, but also don't be surprised when it leaves. And so us talking about like love, and that was a very powerful thing to think about it. And it goes back to us discussing about short-term relationships versus long-term relationships versus one-night stands versus just however that flows, of just understanding that love can come and go, but also finding that partner and building a life with are two different things.
Yeah, it's so interesting. And I guess even to like what I was bringing up earlier about like, you may have a wonderful experience with someone, but also by loving them or deep liking them, you're exposing yourself to being hurt by them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also kind of reminding myself, I guess, at this point in our journeys, I don't know, we've all made it through a breakup or something that has really been like the ending of something that meant a lot and hurt us.
Mm-hmm.
I guess what I'm saying is, I really don't want that again. Like, I don't want that. It's a really horrible experience.
What, getting your heart ripped out of your chest?
Yes.
Yeah, it sucks.
But I guess, to that quote of like love, flows and all that, we can handle it,
Mm-hmm. But then also the book talks about to get a woman, you have to risk losing her. How do you feel about that?
I remember.
Wait, going back going back to just the flow of love, it's like surrender. I've been working with the word surrender a lot this year. It's very big. Surrender. Just surrender. God,
it's a good word.
You. Yeah, it is good.
When you're using that voice, who's the person? What is the person like?
Her name's like Becky. She's
a woman.
Sure, or it's like a gay guy. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I
No,
have
that's
no idea.
perfect, dude.
I was just curious as to.
Maybe it's
I
like
think-
Mitchell.
I
Hi,
think
I'm Mitchell.
that I think it's a wise move, dude, because I don't think you'll receive any backlash, like, making fun of
being
women.
offensively flamboyant.
Yeah, I think it's like a smart, good move.
That's why I truly think it's a Becky. She's like, I'm just surrendering.
I've heard it from so many guys too. Surrender. I mean, surrender's in the AA program.
Surrender's a huge word, and I have been dealing with it. So when you think about the flow of love, and it just, you can't control it, and it comes and it goes, it goes to this point of like, well, do we operate better or at a higher frequency when there's more love in our lives? And if the answer is yeah, I believe yes. I believe when we're surrounded by love more, we operate at a higher frequency. And then the second question is, since we have no control over that flow of love, when there is less love in our life, how do we provide ourselves with more love, with self-love? Because that you actually can control.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think that's where me having that positive self-talk and journaling every day and ending it with love you and doing
just love you.
Just love you. Yeah.
So you mean it though? Because usually when
Yes.
there's no I, it's like, I don't really mean it.
It's weird for me to write in my journal. When writing in my journal, I actually say we versus I.
Ooh.
That's interesting. Yeah, no, that makes sense
cool.
Though. Because it's like me and my subconscious, I guess, or just like a more just inclusive thing.
You're almost like the person living life and then also the observer of you living life.
Yeah. So I guess if I ever like go back and read any of it or doing something like that, it's like past self and future self.
Dude, I think that's great you do that. I know I need to do it. I don't like handwriting. And that's my biggest and I guess I could do it on the computer. It's because of my finger.
Because you carry so much tension in your hands. You don't know how to write. You just break every pen that you pick up. Hey, can I borrow a pen?
Dude, there was a while when people would give me sheets, like whatever, piece of paper, and they would always get them back and they'd be crumpled and like. Dude.
Triggering moment here for you.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Self-love is tough. Self-love is a toughie.
It's a practice. It doesn't come naturally to me. I think negative self-talk is what comes naturally to me. And I've gotten a little bit better of like surrendering to that as much as I can.
Where's that pop? Okay.
Well, okay. So
can you guys hear me okay?
So good. So I guess, basically it's like, it's better to love and lose than never love before. I don't know. It's a toughie.
Somebody told me that after my last breakup, and I was just like, shut the fuck up. He's like, as Shakespeare says, it's better to love and have lost than to have never loved at all. And I literally was like, fuck you. Like inside.
Yeah.
There's definitely a time and place to hear stuff like that where it might resonate a little bit more. But I think also that's when quotes like that get so overused that you're just, it's hard to even resonate, even if it is true.
On this line, what do you think of this? I've always thought about this from that song. If you can't be with the one you love, love the one you're with. I've never totally, I kind of understand it. It's a Rolling Stones song.
Talking about self-love, like love the one you're with, you're always with yourself, or is it like
maybe
you're with
I thought it was like if you can't be with the person you really love, whoever you're with, love them.
Is that the is that the
can't
lyrics?
Be with the one you love the one you're with.
Love the one you're with.
Yes, yeah. If you can't,
first of all, it's
if I can't have you,
it's a Stephen Stills song, baby. Not a Rolling Stones song.
Who's it by?
Stephen Stills.
Okay, I can't reach my DSR.
Stephen Stills.
Dude, hold on.
What about all the nicknames that they had in the game? Style, mystery,
or the acronyms.
Yeah, the PUA.
Yeah,
because Jordan's got a guitar behind him.
Alex, we know you didn't read the book, so you can't just
Yeah, you
deflect
can't.
by playing guitar.
So there's a few things that I want to talk about, and Rob,
Dude,
did
I
you
have
get
all these study guides open. I'm so
okay?
prepared, dude.
So speaking of the acronyms with the IOIs, which is an indicator of interest. And
Yes,
so
Iowa.
yes, and so what they talk about when initially connecting with someone is that when you get 3 IOIs, that you can then like that is the next level of like, okay, this person truly is interested in me. So whether it's not like you tell a joke and they like, hit you or like touch your shoulder or do things like that, open up to you a little bit more and have interest, introduce themselves. So one of the things that they talk about is that when approaching women is that they never introduce themselves first. Is that when a girl is like, "Hi, I'm Cassie," and then you're like, that's an indicator of interest that they're willing to give you more time and all that kind of stuff. And so, um, I guess like when talking to someone new, what are some things that you are made aware of that either you do that like shows that you're like, oh wait, I'm actually really interested in this person, or that you pick up on that other girls do?
I mean, I'm definitely like a compliment. Like I will compliment a woman immediately.
Rob is crazy direct.
I'm crazy direct, and I will just be
but
like,
it's not in a creepy or like it's a very genuine. I've actually like I've seen it. I'm like, oh, that's like a nice way to connect with people.
I usually, I mean, I genuinely compliment. Oh, I really like your necklace. That's so pretty. Where'd you get that? I love your shoes. Great pants. Wow, those are great pants. I have a line. And let me test it on you guys. I'll since I'm tall, I'm 6'3". I'll be like,
unsubscribe.
There we are. 30 minutes into the
Unsubscribe.
podcast.
I'll ask a woman, especially if she's wearing heels. I'll be like, how tall are you in real life? And girls really like that.
That's playful. That's fun.
And then they'll be like, I'm actually 5'5", and then I'll guess heights, which is really, I don't know if it's cool or not, but I've had plenty of,
Well,
I'll
that
be
TikTok
like,
was so accurate of just going on it was POV going on a date with the tall guy, and she's like, so where'd you grow up? And he's like, I'm 6'3". And she's like, oh my God, that's amazing. Like, what do you do for work? Yeah, I'm 6'3". That you are amazing. And how many siblings did you have? I'm 6'3".
I was 6'3".
Oh, this guy.
Is it? I've had women like take off their shoes in public to show me how tall they are in real life.
It's fun.
And I'm just like, oh, you're beautiful. Like,
do you
wow.
do like a side by side thing, or like?
I'll do a side by side. I'll be like, you kind of like size them up, and it's I find that it works. And then they are always like, oh my God, you are so tall.
And then what else gets taken off from there?
After that,
sorry.
We're just spicy boys today. I feel it. There's just spice in all of us. Weber, what are you thinking, dude?
Nothing. I'm not thinking anything.
What did the Spark
I mean,
Notes tell you about this? What was your takeaway from the Spark Notes?
Okay.
Yeah, why don't you review the book that you've read that you haven't read? All right,
hold on.
Take us through the game by Neil
Mr.
Strauss.
Quarter of the way through on Audible.
I've listened to 2 hours of the audiobook.
Okay.
I listened to it too. There's no shade in audiobooks.
I think my look was like there's an arena, which you guys are good guys. But there's an arena of this like hitting on girls that is, I don't know. I mean, we're like bridging the gap between 2 worlds. Basically, I guess I'm saying like, the making fun of the girl's voice. And I'm not trying to be that guy, but it's just like, if I didn't know you, Rob, and that in the gay voice, I'd be like, this dude's a douche. But you're not a douche. You're a great guy. So that's what my reaction was, is that I think like we're flirting with this line of like we're like critiquing this guy's book who's like how to like have sex with girls mystery. Are you
No.
kidding me, Mystery?
Well, Alex, if you had read the book,
No. I have
taken
thoughts
away
on
the
it.
value, because right now you're coming across as being an alpha male that they said that they often deflected on by you putting down all the other people. So
I'm not putting. All right,
maybe
fine.
you're more on the outside.
Here's how I know
And
that I'm an alpha male. In the words
okay.
of Mystery or whoever the hell said it,
Yeah.
I smile.
Oh, look at your smile. So
Thank
good.
you, thank you,
You do
thank
have
you.
that smile. You just said that last episode. Okay.
Gosh, guys. I'm confident.
Alex is literally scrolling through Spark Notes.
Hold on.
And he's
They're my notes.
He's
They're my
yelling
notes.
in the microphone.
Oh, okay, sorry, I got worked up. The other one was, well, here's my thing with it. Okay, two things. You asked my opinion. This is my opinion.
I love this, by the way. I'm enjoying watching you struggle.
One, there are some good things. There are some good things of like social dynamics, and I hope that this helps people. No doubt that having a smile, what do you say? Smile, confidence, sense of humor, being a social life of a party, no doubt that those are going to help you. Yeah. I also think the danger of a book like this is that for someone whose framework or how they are as a human being doesn't match up with that, you're going to try to strive for qualities that aren't true to you. And maybe there's good ones, like, okay, maybe you could smile more. That's super doable. But maybe you're going to end up trying to be someone that's really not you. And you're going to be this false, diluted version. I've also met plenty of women who are like, oh, you're such a good guy. Like, I know I shouldn't, but like, I really am attracted to dickheads. Like, I'm attracted to asshole guys. I've met several people who have given me that feedback. They're like, you're a good guy. And like, I know it's not great, but like, I'm really attracted to assholes. So I guess I have a friend who does not speak. I remember my 20s, we would go out. He does not speak. He doesn't smile. But he looks like Leo DiCaprio from The Great Gatsby. Like, he looks like a Kennedy, and women would just like flock to him. What I'm getting at is, I think these books that are like, and I'm not shaming on, I know you're not Neil, Jordan, so don't, I think there's good takeaways, but I think, they're like, this is how you do it. And he's talking about peacocking and like wear shiny jewelry. Many of the women that I've been really interested in are not going to go anywhere near a guy that has shiny jewelry. That's just not going to be attractive.
Okay, so first of all, snaps to you. I think you've done a good Spark Notes review of the book.
Cramming, hashtag cramming.
You've done an okay job. I will say that I had an initial reaction to Neil Strauss of like, this guy's a tool at first. I was like, I don't like him. I think thinks he's cooler than he is. But then when I started buying into him was when he said how nerdy he was and how unattractive he was and how he needed to go through this transformation. So there's a difference between some guys that like literally never got laid in high school, didn't have a girlfriend, which Neil Strauss says he is, like he was that guy, to then go through this transformation in this program and almost feel like you're getting invited to like Fight Club with Brad Pitt. And you're like in this new circle. I can see how it can be cool. That said, I'm in the place of like, it's getting a bit cringy where you have like Mystery putting on like platform boots and a spike backpack walking around, just like getting every woman to look at him. And I'm like, who's the authentic self? But then it goes into like, well, when you see those extravagant people, like, is that their authentic self? And is that true to him? And does that give him confidence? And if it does, I can't really hate on him for wearing, crazy shit.
Can I offer one tangential? Because this really applies. I was at it was a super cool like community in the hills of Los Angeles. I've only, in my like 9 years in LA, I've only been to maybe 3 things where I was like, oh, this is like
LA party.
Yeah, like
cool as fuck.
Yeah. And it was this thing. It was this really cool, like conscious community. And they would have really big people come in and give like living room talks. So it was like, that was like part of the coolness. And I remember, I'm going to forget her name, but her and her husband were both like famous author people, whatever. And she said something, which it's all aligned here. She was like, you got to put yourself in a position where you shine, meaning like, Rob, it's your film. Jordan, it's your adventuring, like it's playing to your natural assets where like you are in your element and can be attractive like to other people. And I don't, it's not the easiest thing for everyone to do depending on where you're at, but there are, I think it always stuck with me. That was like years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think like opportunity, like there's no, luck is like opportunity meets preparation and all that kind of stuff. So putting yourself in an opportunity to, in a scenario to win where you feel most confident and you feel most comfortable gives you like, you think it's luck, but it's, no one's an overnight success. Truly. It's like 10 years of grinding that you just don't see. And then they put themselves in an opportunity and crushed it out of the park because they've been doing it for so long and all that. And so I agree. Like and I think a lot of what you're saying is just very like tip of the iceberg of what the book talks about. I agree completely. That's very cringy. That like doing stuff so over the top just to get the attention, and there's a lot of scripts and formulaic things that come into play, and it that is not the positives of the book. There's definitely positives and there's definitely negatives. And so like it talks about how he gets how like the idea of just going on dates and just like getting someone's number and doing that like loses interest over time. And then talking about how, the we just how the ending he talks about a waves analogy where he's going surfing with this girl that he's really interested in and actually wants to be his girlfriend, and he's like, I stay in the front because there's a lot of little waves and I can catch them all the time, but this time I went out to the swell and like caught this really big wave and I didn't realize I was able to. And he was like, maybe it's time to stop getting those easy small waves, like picking up all these women that fall for this script and fall for all this stuff and like the really douchebag stuff that the whole pickup artist game is about. And go towards that thing that is like driving him and not be this like not go off of, hey, I'm gonna be cocky funny here and I'm gonna do a magic trick here. It's really showing this full circle, and I'm not being like this is the greatest book and all this kind of stuff. Like there is just more of a juxtaposition besides like, hey, if you say these three things to a woman, she'll automatically like give you her number or go home with you, because like a lot of it is really, really cringy stuff that like doesn't apply today.
I will go back. Just I feel like the theme of today's episode is love, and the reality is like you can fuck as many people as you want. You can have sex with multiple partners. You can go on multiple dates. You can catch all these little waves, but the wave you remember is the big wave. Like the wave that stands out. You could surf for 4 hours and you can catch one wave.
Yeah.
And it's not the little one. It's the big one. So I like that analogy.
Yeah. This analogy, metaphor is really good, Jordan, because it's also, and Rob, like you're saying, there's also like follow that out. You take that big wave, you're going to have an adventure. You waited for it, you committed to it, you're on it. And you are either going to have this beautiful, like ride the wave of your life, enjoy experience, or it's going to bring you up and crash you down, hit you into the sand. Your board's going to wrap around you. You're going to be struggling for air. You might die. So it's like,
I've been there.
Yeah, hit the reef, fucking cut up your body.
Been there both sides of both emotionally and actually surfing, getting tossed. And so to go back also with the opportunity, and it's not luck, is that, and if the theme of this is love, is another thing in my notes was he says, since when is it cheesy to be in love? And also, the man never chooses the woman. All the man can do is give her an opportunity to choose him.
Wow.
Interesting.
That strikes a chord, because that goes back to this idea of surrender. It's like you don't even have, I mean, as a guy, you don't have the control. You don't have the power. It's like you want the woman to choose you. Which I agree. I think it's true. I remember when I was dating Noelle, and for the first like 6 weeks, she's like, I got out of this relationship. I can't date you, or like I can't be in a relationship. I need to date other people. And I was just like, totally, like do your thing. But then there was that moment where I just shared, I'm like, I really have strong feelings for you. I want you to be my girlfriend. And like she had to decide like that she was, in. And once that happened, it was like, whew, as we were off to the birds. And I think in my dating saga, it's like I've been so pushing for control over the love, over the situation, over my heart, over the woman's heart, over my daughter's heart too. And it's like you just can't control it. It just happens.
Surrender.
I think going back to the wave analogy, just because it's such a good analogy, and like Alex, you bring up the point of like eating shit. Like if you do catch the big wave, you eat shit. But I don't know, audience, if you've listeners out there have spent time in the ocean, but like the ocean is something to respect. And it is something that when you don't respect it, you get your ass handed to you. Mm-hmm. And I feel like in our modern dating culture, it's like we are actively disrespecting the ocean. Like we are with this swipe mentality. Like we are just disrespecting the idea of dating and love because we are just swipe junkies. And there's this idea that like we can just fucking swipe our asses off until we meet somebody. And in that vein, we kind of get hurt. But the other point I was going to say was you go for the big wave. Like you always go for the big wave.
It's tough though, man. I'm thinking of like, I didn't grow up with surfing. I've like dabbled in it in my time in LA enough to the point where it's like, you know, just enough to be dangerous to yourself to do it. Like I don't know how to surf, but I will say, man, the sentiment of always going for the big wave. Yes, I agree. The actual being in the water, swimming out and like navigating it. And then you see it coming and actually committing to it. I don't know, man. It's
I mean, yeah, it literally goes off of what you just said about being okay. So like okay, you're swimming out and it's like, okay, I like you. This is cool. Okay, let me get over that first hump of waves. And it's just like, okay, I kind of maybe like you. And like, you know, and it all applies. Also, why does this happen? Do you guys sweat as much as I do during these episodes?
I'm not as sweaty as you, Jordan.
So
but you
I
are sweaty.
I've left him out of the promos, the cuts. I think we're gonna have to make like a montage here.
A super cut
I'm so just sweaty doing these.
Sweaty Jordan.
Is it hot in your place?
No, the AC is on. Like,
can I ask
62
you?
62 degrees. In
I appreciate your openness. You know, does this happen on dates or things like that, or is this something about the podcast?
I think it's just sitting here on the podcast. I don't think I'm a generally very sweaty guy.
Yeah.
It's just like sitting here in the lights and just like.
Yeah, I get that.
The intensity of what we're talking about, the vulnerability gets me
so
going.
It's just three of us
too. It's nothing else. Like I'm not. Yeah. I'm very dry all around.
Of the three of us, who's on dating apps and who's not?
I think we're all off now.
We're all off
as of September 1st. Yeah, so I've been off for 4 months now, if not more.
Wow. So this is a no dating app month for Still Single.
Still, if you're listening, go one way or the other. We encourage you to either delete all the apps or download all of them.
Or just swipe your little tits off. Honestly, I challenge our audience to delete them.
Yeah. Okay.
Fucking delete them. Deleted.
Guys, I don't want to derail us because we've been talking about so many things, but it's been so tough. I thought I was going to have enough time to eat before we started recording the podcast. I didn't. And so I grabbed something to have a snack, but then you both logged on. I have a huge thing of watermelon.
Oh my God.
I've wanted to take a bite of this whole time.
Dude, take a bite of the watermelon.
Let's talk about this fruit, baby.
Yeah, take a bite of the watermelon.
All right, fine, Jordan. Let's play the game. But watermelon is my favorite fruit. It's like my favorite food.
But I think it's kind of comical too that you're like, I need to eat something. And like, it feels like it's like lunchtime. And as opposed to like, I thought you were going to pull out like a sandwich or like a healthy salad. And you're just like, I have this tub of watermelon that's going to be my lunch today.
Dude, my buddy Michael's got me on this, like, it's a lot of melon.
Can we, Rob, can we sit back for just a second? And Alex, can you just ASMR for 20 seconds eating this watermelon?
Yeah. All right, audience. We're gonna do 20 seconds of ASMR watermelon eating.
Our viewership falls off a cliff and never comes back. I hope this is a good piece.
You got to make eye contact.
I feel so
Yeah,
self-conscious. I
just
feel
you got to whisper us, lead us into it, Alex. Like you're
well. All right. So I will consider myself to be a watermelon connoisseur.
no ASMR. You got
Oh,
Get closer to the mic.
I consider myself.
Louder and closer.
This watermelon's pretty good.
nothing.
Is it enjoyable?
Do you not hear yourself?
Dude, why do you eat watermelon like a baby bird?
How do you eat it?
I like eat it. Have you ever listened to ASMR? You gotta like get like sloppy on it. Like you gotta like make sounds.
It's watermelon.
It's one of the
That's
it's one of the most sexual fruits imaginable.
Is it?
Yes, just because you eat it every day, you've normalized it.
hold
Watermelon
on.
is.
Do you
No one
not
says-
know what ASMR is also?
Yeah, do you not?
I've never
know?
listened to it, but I see it. People eat like burgers on a microphone or something.
You
You've
have
never
did you
experienced
spark
ASMR.
notes?
Oh.
No.
Why do you keep making it quiet? The whole idea is to make it loud.
I'm not.
Here, let me give you an
I'm sorry to
example.
the
All
audience
right,
for
I'm
this.
drinking. I'm drinking an iced.
We're doing
latte.
a bit here.
I'm drinking an iced latte. ASMR stuff. There's so much ice in this iced latte. It's so cold and wet.
I mean, I get it. I get it now. I just don't think watermelon is well suited for this. You don't slurp.
All right, your turn.
Okay. I'm gonna eat watermelon. No one eats watermelon.
We can't hear you. What is? How? Why are you chewing
Done.
quiet? All right, we tried it.
It's watermelon. It
Water-
doesn't have a sound profile.
Maybe you're just not a big ASMR kind of guy.
Yeah.
That's all right. We tried.
Anyways, we tried. Honestly, that was enough watermelon to just kind of get me back in gear. So thanks, everybody.
You're refreshed.
feel
Should
pretty
we?
refreshed.
Let's go to some questions. We have some questions
Okay.
from the audience. Let's see here.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, this is from Marlene. Here we go.
Okay.
Hi, Alex, Jordan, and Rob. My name's Marlene. I just wanted to tell you guys I really love your podcast. I've definitely binged listened to it over the last few days. You guys are all super funny. I love your honesty and your vulnerability. Thanks for normalizing talking about depression, dating on apps, not drinking, coming from someone who in the last year has really cut drinking out of her life. I appreciate that. But I do also have a question for you. I'll send it in another voice memo.
Thank you for saying that. Binging it is one of the kindest things.
I would like to know, what are your guys' thoughts on random DMs from ladies asking you out? I'm sure that you've all experienced that, I would assume. Is it weird? Is it creepy? Is it not cool? Or is it awesome? Have you responded to people's random DMs? Have you gone out with any of those ladies? I would like to know your thoughts. All right. Also, gentlemen, one more question. So Rob is 6'3". That's mentioned every episode. How tall are Jordan and Alex? I'm curious. Let us all know. Bye.
Tall enough.
Marlene, thank you so much for sending in those questions. Yeah, if you guys didn't hear, I'm 6'3". Alex, how tall are you?
I'm 6'2". I just don't make a fuss about it.
You're not 6'2". Are you on
I
drugs?
would never tell you that you're not 6'2". If that's what you wanted to be, I would never say that to you. I am 6 foot.
Okay.
Same.
Yeah. Jordan, you're not 6 foot.
How tall do you think? How do you want me to get a measuring tape right
You
now?
are 5'11" max.
Get a measuring tape.
That-
Get a measuring tape.
I'm okay. I'm going to do that. I'm going to take a photo, send it to the group chat. On top of the fact that we'll post it everywhere.
I need to be there for the measurement because I don't
I'm
trust
going to
the
be in
science.
LA next week.
I say we take a height trip just to confirm heights.
Yes.
Weber
great.
is
Alex, come to Joshua Tree next week.
All right, so back to the question. Have we ever had a woman slide into our DMs and gone on a date with her?
I'm curious Jordan's taking this. I have like a slight tangent on not tangent, side note on it. Like, yes, people have slid into my DMs. I do think I've gone on a date with someone. I've also listen, I've been someone to slide in someone's DMs too. So I see both sides. I've also politely said to some people, if it's not a fit, or sometimes people live in different places and some people have been totally cool. I've also had some people take offense to that. And I think I think part of taking a shot is to not take it personally too. If it's not a fit, so if we walked up to someone at a coffee shop and we asked them out and they weren't interested, I think part of it is to not take it personally that they're not. It's hard, but I think shoot your shot and whatever happens, know that we shot it. But I always think it's flattering if someone reaches out and does it. Please reach out. I'm so lonely.
Please DM us. We need validation. All right, Jordan, what do you think?
Well, so this is something that I've been wanting to actually bring up because I think it's great. I definitely support it. And if you're feeling confident, and have a good opener, or want to just say what's up or do that, I highly encourage it. The one thing that I will say is that I will not respond if you have a private account. So if you're going to slide into my DMs, but I can't see who you are or do whatever, because no one looks as good as their 3 centimeter of a profile picture, those do not correlate. It just is what it is. And if I can't see anything else, I can't learn more about you or do anything like that. I'm not going to be oh, let me request the follow. And then if I'm not that, that's already then me over committing and doing all this kind of stuff that if you're going to reach out, I think leave your account public for a little bit.
Yeah.
If you
I agree, because there's so many creeps online. So in the last few months I've gotten some DMs, whether it's through TikTok or through Instagram, and I feel like I'm getting catfished on TikTok by these 2 women, and I'm like, you're not real. This is that. So that's one. I'd say always shoot your shot. I get quite a few DMs, and it's always very flattering. And I love when people kind of share their stories of grief or loss with me. I feel like people who are hey, I lost my husband, or I lost my boyfriend to cancer, or I'm a single mom and I'm going through this. I resonate with you. The reality though is I'm not in a position to not make your life better, but I'm not a therapist. I don't have those skills. I just have my life experience, and I'm trying to share that as much as I can on my platforms. But in terms of dating, I think it's totally okay to shoot your shot, and I never think too much about it. I'm just okay, yeah. And if I feel like it's a fit, then I'll be hey, let's talk.
Right. That's what I was saying earlier also, is that, sometimes you never know, and you will only know by putting yourself out there and doing that. So, and that was the kind of season of life that I was in, of both being receptive to it and just kind of saying hi and connecting with the people that catch my attention.
I will tie this back to the game of and kind of give some snaps to Neil and his whole Pua clan. There's no, they go for it.
Yeah.
They shoot their fucking shot. And I my biggest takeaway from listening to a quarter of the book is smile when you enter a room. You're in the game. You are in the game as soon as you enter the room, whether it's a restaurant, a club, a bar, a coffee shop, you're there, you're out in the world. And I think if you can radiate more positive energy from yourself, like you will attract new opportunities.
I agree with that. And I also want to like bridge the gap. I mean, something that also like beyond dating, just like the world, I remember that when I first started with hosting with American Ninja Warrior, we'd go to these events and, we'd show up at these shoots and because Rob said you're in the game. So I just want to kind of like, you're in the game kind of when you enter the world. Because I remember I would have like travel clothes on and I'd look kind of scrubby and my hair might be a little bit of a mess. And I was like, but then I'll go up to the hotel and then I'll get all ready and I'll go to the work event later on. And I remember it would always happen like the first like time I walked in and like one of the biggest, people at NBC was like right in the lobby when I walked in and I was like, hey man, great to see you. And I looked like a mess. And it was just a learning. And now at speaking events, I've like learned that too. It's just, everyone is everywhere. That's something I'll often say to myself. Everyone is everywhere. And like you've entered work, like when you've gotten in your car, like you've entered the date, like when you've parked, like it's just, I think, not in a pressure way, but just kind of like an owning, like, okay, like you've entered the world. And Sebastian Maniscalco has a funny thing of like, when the world sees you, or when you see the world sees you. So like, it kind of is like, not being on, but just like Rob saying, bringing that positive energy.
Yeah. All right. I've got another question.
Wait, Jordan, was it a question? It was a question, right?
Yeah. I've got one more question. This is sent in from Melissa. Hi, Rob. Just popping over to say I love your podcast. I'm hooked. I'll be 44 next month. Snaps to that. And newly-ish single for the last year and a half. I have a question I'd like to hear you guys discuss. What's your take on dating strong, independent women? As a single mom, I'm the caretaker, the pool guy, the go-to fix-it-all person, and I hold down a job. So in order to make the ship run smoothly, I've got to have my stuff together. But I've been told that's intimidating to men, that I've got it together too much. What does the still single trio have to say?
J-Town?
That makes me think about a time when I was at ESPN and I had a really shitty boss and they asked me to design a graphic and I did. And they're like, this is too good. Like we weren't expecting, like, this is actually better than what we were hoping. Like, and I was like, I'm sorry. Are you mad that you asked me to do this task and now like I'm getting punished for it in the way that like this question is, she has her shit together. She has a house with a pool and like, she's being told like, no, you got to be struggling more so a guy can come in and take care. Like, I'm like, pool? You have your shit together? Like you probably put your,
like you're attracted to it. Like you gravitate towards
like
it.
I'm not, I would say I'm way more attracted to someone who has that. And like, I'd much rather, it goes back to the intimidation thing is like, I'd much rather someone on the early end, like, feel a little, I need to keep up with the Joneses. I need to keep up. Like, do I have my life together in the same way that this person does?
She like challenges you. She like pushes you to be the best version of yourself.
Yeah, I would want my partner to do that. As a, like I fired my manager recently because she was more unorganized than I was. And that's a big issue that I have is disorganization. So it's like, you're here to, like, my partner isn't there to be organized for me, but like in that same analogy of that is just like, hey, I hired you to do this thing. Hey, I'm looking for a partner that's like has their shit together and does that. So if you encounter any guy that's like, oh, you take care of the bills and you do that kind of stuff, is like, seems like somewhat of an antiquated guy or someone who is just like not self-assured. That should be more of a turn on for someone than
it could be a deflection as well, Melissa. Like it could be like they're just saying that to end things, or they're trying to find an excuse when maybe in their heart they're just like, this isn't a fit, which is a projection onto you. Like
honestly, it might be a lot of their own insecurities. So a guy that's going to be intimidated is a guy that isn't going to feel secure enough in himself, his work, having it all together. So then he meets you and that gap is highlighted. And then you add on this kind of, I think we're working through it as a society, but this notion of like the man's supposed to have it all together, man, that for some guys, and I felt glimpses of this, it might be too much and then he'll project but I think it comes back to that thesis that we've all been saying. Like the bottom line is, you know what? It's going to be too much for one person. It's going to be not enough for another person. And the person who's right for you is going to think it's so amazing that you are capable and doing all these things. Snappies?
Snaps.
I have to remind myself that, honestly, because I self-talk. It's like sometimes I'm like, am I too much? I'm a widower. I'm a single dad. I've got a kid. Like,
You're 6'3".
I am 6'3". I have an affinity for The Notebook. But no, I'm serious. Like, I am in my journey. You can be judgmental, and I would just say, Melissa, just to round out what you asked us, is like, you're a badass single mom, and that is your identity. And the fact that you clean your pool is going to be hot to the right person. Like, they're going to be like, Melissa fucking cleans her pool so good, and I get to watch her do it, and I love it. And he's like sitting there with a cup of coffee.
Stuff.
Yeah, we could role play, Melissa. Let's go. A little ASMR. All right, I'm not going to do it.
No, that was, I think you rocked that. Do you now, Melissa, we're taking this and putting it back on Rob here. What do you say to that voice that says all those things are factually accurate? You are a widower. You do have a daughter. You are a lot, just you as a person too.
Yeah.
Right. What does the other voice in you say to that?
Well, I recall Noelle, when I would have my negative self-talk, she'd be like, I'd be like, I'm fucking up, Noelle. Like, I'm not doing right. And she'd be like, don't talk about my husband like that. And there was just like that's really just awesome positivity. And I've definitely found in like some relationships after Noelle, it's like, I've been like cut down by, I've been like told like, you are this and almost like gaslit a little bit. And I'm just like, and that gets in your head. So, I mean, if any of our listeners are going through like a breakup, you take a lot of that negative energy with you, and it takes time to clear it before you're kind of ready and you have that like self-esteem built back up again. So again, love, baby. It's all self-love, love and surrender, just love and surrender. It's definitely a girl. It's Becky.
But yeah, I just want to know what's in your head. That's fine.
That's
Becky. Good. What is she wearing? Can you paint a picture?
Becky wears flowy dresses, obviously. And she's got henna tattoos. I get a new one every week.
How often are you using that when talking with Leia?
I rarely talk like Becky with Leia. But I do like I'll do a Scottish accent with
What's
Leia.
The Scottish one?
I'll be like, oh, lassie. Oh, you're so beautiful. You're so
she like
strong.
It?
She loves it. She thinks it's hilarious.
That's so good.
Oh, little lady. That's what I say. She's like, Dada.
Do you think Dada will continue for, or is it naturally like does she come downstairs one day and just go, Father?
Rob. I think Dada will last as long as it's supposed to last. I've noticed that with parenting, it's like as soon as you get attached to something adorable that you love, it's like they grow out of it. And she calls me Dada. She went through a dad phase not too long ago, and I was just like, yeah, I'm your dad, and that's totally fine. But now it's like back into Dada. I doubt like at her wedding she'll be like, Dada, come on up. But if she does, great. Like, I think that's fucking adorable.
Come up here and kick out Jordan and Alex. This is obscene. They're still single at our wedding.
Why are Jordan and Alex still single at our wedding?
But you get a +1 at least?
Dude, you will definitely get a +1 to Leia's wedding in 25 years. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. I think the through line was just, self-love, surrender, as Becky would say, just surrender. And, Jordan, next week we're going to read the truth, and it's going to go as well as this past week. But again, thank you guys all for sending in your questions. Please continue doing that. The best way to do it is DMing us on Instagram at We Are Still Single. And then you can follow us at Jordan Kahana, at I'm Alex Weber, and at Single Girl Dad on Instagram and TikTok.
We love when you tag or let us know that you've listened to one. That means so much, the questions and everything. And share with one friend. Maybe they're single, maybe they're not. We'd appreciate the heck out of that.
Yeah, share the podcast. Everybody's saying like binge worthy. You guys made my afternoon amazing. Like, we really appreciate that. I've seen some of the comments on Apple Podcasts. Those are always really good to see. So if you can take 10 seconds to put 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, it really helps us with the algorithm. So yeah, much love, guys. We'll see you next week.
Love you, mean it.
Love you, mean it. Bye.
Love you.
Bye.